Welcome back to Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. This one is entitled Bike Rack. This dates back to when I was in elementary school, so we're talking starting around 1984, but really 1985 to 91, because that would have been first grade through sixth grade, which was what my elementary school was. This was the 80s, and kids were allowed to ride their bike. We didn't have helmets, we didn't have elbow pads, we didn't have knee pads, we didn't have all the shit that has to go on today. If you rode your bike to school, you had to lock it up because another kid might steal it, or you never know if somebody else might come. We didn't have security in these days, we didn't have cameras, none of that stuff, so you had to have a bike lock. So we did. And sometimes if you forget yours, you'd buddy up with somebody and lock two bikes with one lock and da 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 da. But the bike rack itself was a thing of amusement for a very short time. When they let us out for lunch, or recess as it was called for some people, we could hang out around there. And we also would hang out there before they would open the doors to let us into the school if you were there early. And they had a bitchy, crotchety old lady that would watch the kids and make sure that Jimmy didn't beat up Johnny and this, that, and the third, and that Alex didn't rip out Sally's hair and shit like that. Just somebody there who you didn't like. But that was really that, and the bike rack was rust. It was all rust. It might have used to been nicer years ago, but this thing was just a wreck. It was a wreck. The entire thing was rust. And what you had was, the way it was supposed to work, the center of it looked sort of like a railing. You had a bar on top, bar on the bottom, and spindles that would go. And the idea behind it is you would put your bike in there, and then behind that, like a foot or two behind that, was this bar, a metal bar that went across. And the idea is you put your front tire over that bar and your bike up to the spindles, and you could lock the where the handlebars go through the frame to the thing with a nice cable and a lock, and there you go. Well, the spindles were all bent, and they spun also. So you had these bendy spindles, so we used to play with that and shit, bend them. Well, not really bend them, because you had to like kick it and shit, and if the ladies watching, forget it. And then if you did make noise, you'd look. But that bar in the front was fun to jump on because it would bend. So we'd always hold on to the railing thing in the middle and jump on the bar, and you could only do that like 4 or 5 times before the crotchety lady would blow the whistle and say, "Get away from there!" Shit like that. And there was also a stigma as a kid that we had where you weren't a cool kid unless you had a Mongoose bicycle. I don't know anything much about them. They were kind of cool looking. I don't know if they're still around. If they are, they're made in China now. But that was the thing to have if you were a cool kid. And yes, the cool kids had them because the parents knew that they had to uphold their cool kid status in school, and they needed a Mongoose bike. And these are the kind of kids that would get nice presents for Christmas and stuff like, so they might get it for Christmas, stuff like that. They would get the nice gifts, where being a Jew boy, they'd get me a box of crayons one day, some paper the next day, and now you can color for Hanukkah. And it was all like back to school shit. Lewis Black had a thing on that where he said that Hanukkah is a back to school holiday. That was pretty funny because it rang true for a lot of us who were of that. I really can't remember anything else with the bike rack, so I really think that's about it. But it was just this thing that was there. And, years went by, and they repaved the area. They took those out. I was since out of that school. It was there the whole time I was there. So sometime in the 90s, I don't know if they ever replaced them or anything like that, but that was something that I don't know if you're going to see much today. Oh, there's a bougainville in the tree. Red-winged blackbird. I don't know what kids today do. If they ride their bike to school, if they can ride their bike to school, what do you do with the stupid helmet they make you wear? Do you just leave it hanging on the bike? Do you put the lock through the strap and they can unstrap it anyway? Where is he? There he is. What do you do? I don't know. If you know, let me know. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this episode of Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. I thank you very kindly for watching, and I really appreciate it. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.